about Reels once again. So if you've ever felt like Reels are hard or you're frustrated by Reels or anything like that, this live is for you. I think Reels are actually some of the easiest pieces of content to create. And now I know I say that and you might be like, what? No way. So the reality is that we make them feel harder than they need to be. It's on us, and it's our expectations of what Reels can and should do that throws us completely off. Okay? So oftentimes our expectations are that we're supposed to immediately go viral, that we're supposed to be able to sell millions of dollars worth of whatever it is, all from one reel. And that's just not what a reel is designed to do. So I want to know from you, before we even get into this, what is your expectation of a reel? Drop some comments. Tell me, what do you expect reels to do for you or your business? And what we're going to do is we're just going to look at these. No judgment from me, never judgment from me. And we're going to look at what do we need to shift in our expectations of reels so that they're more realistic, okay? Now, we're also going to talk about how to not make them feel so doggone hard, okay? Okay, so comments, let me know what you're thinking about that. My name is Jamie Hain. I'm a video and growth coach, and I help you grow your business through video, because it's not just about videos and throwing them up and seeing what works. It's about actually having a strategy around video so that they work for your business. That's what I do. Now, I will tell you the biggest mistake that I made when it came to reels is that I treated them, that's not even the right word. My expectation of them was that they would perform like a live. And then when they didn't perform like a Facebook Live, I was frustrated and I was like, what am I doing here? This doesn't work. Okay. So let me look at the comments and see what kinds of things you guys are coming up with here in terms of expectations of reels. All right, hold on here. Okay. So we have, Emily says, attract ideal potential clients, educate them, show them I'm the best coach for them. Okay. Beth says exposure. Julie says visibility and introduction. Jeanette says reels help others learn about me and grow to trust me. Judy says educate my dream clients. Trish says visibility. Love it. Love it. Okay. So if I say to this, not all of you, but a lot of you have too big of expectations for your reels. How does that feel? Does it make you curious and like, oh, okay, well, I'm here. I'm listening. I want to hear what this is all about. Because hold on, I dropped my notes. Hold on. I always feel like Harry Potter when I drop out of the frame like that. Okay, so here's what's actually happening. Let's talk about what's happening, okay? Your reels have a very different job than any other piece of content that you create. Your Facebook Lives, your workshops, your posts, each of those things has a very specific job to do. And when you understand what the job is, oh my gosh, everything gets easier. That was my challenge, is I was trying to make all of it do all of the same things. And when I realized each component has its own job, I was like, oh, this makes a whole lot easier, right? And so what's likely happening to you let me know if this is true, is that you're frustrated with reels because in your mind, they're not effective. It's not that they're not effective. It's that your expectation of what they do for you needs to be adjusted. Does that make sense? I keep losing my notes. My notes keep falling off my desk. Usually I have them taped, but I couldn't find the tape. That's what happens after you come back from 2 weeks off. Like nothing is where you want it to be. Nothing is, right? Okay. Okay. So think about it like this. If you've decided, like so many other people, that I'm gonna lose some weight, I'm gonna eat better, I'm gonna be healthier in the new year. Okay. If you just have had a salad for the last, what day are we on? 6 days in a row. Are you getting on the scale and like, why haven't I lost 10 pounds? What's the deal? I'm eating salad. It's not that salad won't help you lose weight. It's that your expectation of one salad is off. That's what we're talking about on reels. Your expectation of what a reel is and what it can do for you needs to be adjusted. And once you have that clarity around what it can and cannot do, how you should and shouldn't use it, oh my gosh, do they become so much easier. And that's what we're going to unpack a little bit today. Okay. Okay. Think about it like this. Reels have two main jobs. So for those of you that answered, well, you're about to check yourself here. Okay. Number one is attracting a new audience. So those of you that said get new people, find new people, attract them in, you are right on, right on. But what you're doing to attract them, we're going to talk about that today, okay? The second thing is that it's about warming or priming your existing audience. Now, I'm using that word specifically. A lot of people will say it's to nurture. It is not to nurture. Nurture has to be something where they will give you more time, energy, and effort. Like a Facebook Live where people will sit for a longer period of time, like your workshops. That's where you nurture. A reel, when people are new to you, when people are on their phones watching reels, they're not going to give you that kind of time. It's not going to happen because that's not why they're looking at reels. That's not their intention behind consuming reels. Okay, so let's break this down. When you are trying to attract new audiences, you are trying to just go for an introduction. You're just wanting people to be like, oh, who's she? What's she about? That's your goal. If it comes to, hold on here, where is my thing? Oh man, I lost my thing. Okay, for existing audiences, pretend there are slides here. It just didn't, somehow I deleted it. See, I'm a little rusty from taking some time off. Existing audiences, what you're trying to do with them is remind them who you are and help them become more familiar with you. So those of you that said visibility or you said trust, yes, trust, but not to the level of education. Not yet. Okay. And I know some of you out there are like, no, I see reels that are doing this. Yes, you are so right. But you have to get your real audience first. Think of it like phases that you are moving through. If you are just getting started with reels, then you need to focus one way in your strategy. Once you have some momentum there, then you can go with educating in reels. Little bitty nuggets, but you're always going to have both. So it's like a phased approach, if that makes sense. Okay. Your goal with this first phase is to achieve these kinds of things. You want your audience saying, I like her. I like her. She gets me. She makes me think. You know what? I'm going to follow her because I want more content from her. That is your goal. You always need to have reels that are allowing you to achieve this list of things. So think of it like this. Yes, eventually you're going to get to reels that educate. A lot of you said educate, but not right out of the gate. And so if you are finding yourself going, all I do is educate. I'm educate on reels. That's why reels aren't working for you because you skipped a whole step. To bring that audience in, they got to know what you stand for and who you're about before they're going to listen and trust you and want to be educated by you. Let me know if there's questions on that, okay? So what you're trying to do here is redefine in your mind the value of a reel. What is the value you're giving to your audience inside of a reel? It's got to be redefined, at least out of the gate. Okay, that's what you're trying to do. And so what I want you to kind of think about is that, it's really about the power of one. And you're going to hear me talking a lot about the power of one in 2026 because that focus is what's going to make the biggest possible difference. Okay, so what you got to think about is inside of your reels, you are trying to do one thing. And here's a list of one things. Okay, you are trying to share a thought, little nugget, just a thought. You are trying to shift a belief. You think this, you need to think this instead. You are trying to share a moment. There's connection. There's a power of connection, engagement inside of your reels, not just educate. Ask a question. Again, get them to engage with you. Open curiosity, open gaps, make them realize, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that. I hadn't thought of that before. And improve awareness. What do I mean by awareness? How aware are they of the problem that you solve, that you help people with, and the solution, the way in which you help them? That's what you're trying to do in a reel. And let me just be really clear, not this whole list. One thing in one reel. One thing in one reel. Anybody shocked by that? Or are you like, does that make sense? Well, it probably makes sense, but are you shocked by it? It can be both. Okay, so what you have to recognize is that that is not 3 minutes of content. It is 10 seconds of content. I know the biggest mistake I was making, I talked about this earlier, was I was treating this like a Facebook Live, and I was going on for as long as each platform would let me inside of my reels. And I was just like, why is this not working? Why is it not getting better reach? It's the same content I'm putting in my Facebook Lives, but it's not going anywhere. I'm not getting the same level of engagement. It's because reels and lives do different things. People who show up for lives want education. That's why you're here today. You want to learn something. But when you're doing reels, you want quick, fast, easy. You want little teeny nuggets that make you go, oh, wow. See the difference between the two. Now, this is going to be important here in a second because these shorter, I'm going to talk about this, but shorter reels, especially if you're just building your audience, is so very, very important because every algorithm on every platform is looking at watch time. So, if you haven't looked at your watch time on some of your reels, you want to go and do that. If your reels are averaging, let's just say 90 seconds. If your reels are 90 seconds long, but your watch time is only 7 seconds, that's why you're not going anywhere. That's why you're not getting the traction in the reels. They're too long. And that audience, this new audience, people who are consuming reels, they don't want all of that. They're not there yet. That's not why they're on their phone watching reels. Right? Think about why you watch reels versus why you go to workshops or why you go to Facebook Lives. Everything, every part and piece of your content strategy has a job, has a role. And the clearer you are on it, the easier this all gets. Okay? Okay. Now, you also are not going to achieve all of this that we're talking about from one reel. Goes back to that salad, right? One salad not going to make you lose 10 pounds. One reel not going to get you the results that you want. It's about consistency. And consistency matters. Now, the question that always comes up is, how consistent do I need to be? Like, how many reels do I need to do for how long until I get the response that I want? If you ask 10 people that, 10 experts, they're all going to tell you something different. That's the frustrating part, right? But here's what all of them have in common. This right here. You got to be consistent for a period of time. On average, what I see people saying is 60 to 90 days of consistently posting 3 to 4 times a week. That is bare minimum before you're going to get traction. So again, I want you to think of it like that salad. You have to eat healthy and move your body for a longer period of time before you see and feel the results. But you have to keep going. You have to keep being consistent and believe that it will take off. That's the hard part with reels because you feel like they're ineffective because they're not getting you what you want. You just haven't done it consistent enough for as long enough. You've got to give the algorithm and your audience time to understand what your reels are all about. Now, here's another little call out here. Anytime you shift your reel strategy, so if you are watching this and you're like, I've been doing reels and now I'm going to change this, I'm going to follow what Jamie says. Guess what? You're going to have a period of time where they dip. And I know when this first happened to me, I was like, are you kidding me? This strategy doesn't work. Nope. It's that the algorithm and your audience just have to adapt and adjust to what you are now putting out. Hard, but true. So I always like to tell you the truth, not hold things back so that you understand and you know what's going to happen. Okay. So again, minimum 3 to 4 times a week. There are people out there, experts out there that will say 3 and 4 times a day. I follow a guy that says if you're not posting 10 and 15 reels a day, it's going to take you forever. And I think that's an important call out. The call out is not, I have to immediately start creating 10 and 15 pieces of reels a day. The call out is speed. How fast do I want the audience and the algorithm to understand who I am and what I do? It's all choices, and you can choose to go as fast or as slow as you want. It's all about what can you consistently hit. And so the most important thing that I can tell you today is start easy. Okay? So if you're going to have to create 3 and 4 reels a week, and this is not something that you have a pattern or a strategy to create, that might seem like a tremendous amount of time. So that's, again, why we want to start small. We want to start with little short reels. If you can create a reel a day that's 10 seconds, how long is that going to take you? Much, much faster, right? And that's going to allow you to be more consistent because there's not as much work involved to create it. Okay, what questions do you have about any of this? Let me grab my phone here. Hold on here. Let me see if I've missed any questions. Okay, Trish is saying, what is considered a good number of views for a reel? Okay, the best answer that I'm going to get you is what you're wanting to look at is, am I getting more reels this week over last week? Am I getting more reels since I've been making changes, since I've been following this strategy? Is that improving? So you want to look at views for sure, but you also want to look at watch time. Are people watching longer? Is your completion percentage? So your completion percentage is if your, here, let me say it this way. If your reel is 90 seconds, I feel like I need a, I don't know where my whiteboard is. If let's say your reel is 90 seconds long and your average watch time is 7 seconds. Your completion rate, the rate at which people are watching your reel, is very low because they're watching 7 seconds out of 90, small percentage, which means the algorithm is going to say, oh, they don't like this content. I'm not going to show it to more people. And that reduces your views. Okay. So if you instead do reels that are 10 or 15 seconds long and they still are only watching for 7 seconds, your completion rate is much higher. And so the algorithm goes, ooh, people are watching this one. I'm going to show it to more people. So you want to look at not only views, you want to look at watch time and that completion rate. There's not necessarily every platform, you're going to find it in different places, but the best kind of thing that I can point you to is insights. Find your insights. And it doesn't calculate completion rate. It doesn't give you like a number, but what you're looking for is how long was that reel and how long was the average watch time? And then you can kind of calculate it in your head. Are they watching the whole thing? Are they watching half of it? Are they watching only a portion of it? You got to get that number up. And then the last thing that you really want to watch, and I know Trish, you didn't ask this, but you're really also wanting to watch how much engagement are you getting on that reel? How many comments are you getting? Because comments is another thing that's going to tell the algorithm people like this content. So you're trying to get some of that too. Okay. Good question. Okay, Judy says, so a reel is a short 10-second video that is shared to Facebook. Okay. Reels, every platform is a little bit different. So a reel is typically vertical, not horizontal. It's a vertical format. Reels actually sit in a completely different space on Facebook and on Instagram. There are lots of viewers, not viewers, that's not the right word. What do you call audience members? I guess that's the word, who only watch reels. So they go into Facebook, they go into Instagram, and they're only watching reels because that's all they care about. So they're not seeing anything else that you are posting. They're only looking at reels. That's why so many of the people who are coaches and gurus, their mix of content posts versus reels is much, much higher because they get 10 times the reach. And that's what they're using to grow their audience and to move people through their funnel. So a reel is something that you create that's different than a video. You're specifically creating it to be a reel. Now, what you're asking is, are you sharing it to Facebook? Yes, you can create it in TikTok, share it to Facebook. You can create it in edits and post it on Instagram and Facebook. You got lots of different options. But the reel itself is a video asset that you can put in as many places as you want. So ideally, you want to create that reel and you can post it everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever it is that you are posting that you're trying to grow traffic, use reels as a format. So it's no different than think of post content, right? If you're posting content, you can post a photo, you can do a poll, you can do a color block. You got lots of different options. A reel is just another piece of content. It's another option. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question, Judy. Okay. Judy says, do we vary the content? Yes. So even inside of reels, you want to vary the content. If all of your reels are doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, you're not giving enough variety. So you want reels that do lots of things. You want reels that you create just to drive engagement. You want reels that you create just to educate. You want reels that you create just to, yes. And there are different types of reels. You can create different reels. You have faceless reels. You have B-roll. You have talking head. You have all sorts of different options. You can actually turn photos into reels. Reels is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and people are getting more and more creative with how they create reels. It's really fun when you understand what am I doing and what is my strategy. And if there's one thing that I want to say here is that no matter what, If you are just creating video for the sake of video and you're just like throwing it up on the wall and you're like, let's see what sticks, you're going to be frustrated because it's not going to get you the results and the traction that you want. If you want to get results, then you're going to do video very differently than somebody who is just trying to get views because they are an affiliate marketer. So affiliate marketers versus coaches are going to do video differently, and that includes reels as well. Okay, let's see if we got any more questions. I love this. And then I'm going to, perfect. Judy says perfect. She's got it. Okay. Okay, Amanda, let me read this, Amanda. Hold on. She's been posting reels the last week, and it's helped her reach, but she definitely feels like they're an extra thing to do compared with the ease of post for quick tips I do on Facebook stories. Okay, stories, very different than reels, than content, right? Each of those things, and that's what I'm talking about, each of those different concepts has a specific job there to do. And so that's why you need a strategy. Somebody the other day said, what you need to do is you need to create a live, chop it up into reels, post it on your stories. It's all about repurposing. Okay, yes, but what you really need to do is be intentional with what you're doing in each of those pieces of content so that they do the job intended. That's the whole goal here. Okay, so you will, when you start doing reels, you're going to get way more reach. Absolutely. And so back to Trisha's question, if you're not getting 2 and 3 and 400 views on your reels when you're just getting started, we probably need to do some adjustments. I would say that's a good starting point for coaches and service-based entrepreneurs. Very different for people who are affiliate marketers, very different from people who are influencers, very different. It's kind of like different rules in there, okay? But what you want to see is you want to see progress from 2 and 300, and now all of a sudden you start to get some that hit 400, 500, 600. Maybe now you have some that hit 1,000 or 1,500. Maybe then you start to get even bigger than that. That's what you're trying to get to, is that many views. But you don't want just views for views' sake. I'll give you an example. I have a reel that is, last time I checked, it was like 26,000 views. And it had a bunch of comments. It's hundreds of comments, but none of that activity, as great as it is, got me sales. So we tend to get caught up in, oh my gosh, it went viral, whatever viral means, right? Viral means it got a lot more views than what your average is. That's how I define it anyway. You got to be careful of that. Yes, you want that because that means more people are watching you. But if you don't get more followers, if you're not getting people taking that next step with you, then it's a vanity metric. It doesn't actually help your business. Okay. Okay, Amanda says, I constantly get told by Facebook after I post a reel to make it longer than 3 minutes for best practice. Okay, yes, after you have the following. So once you build people who are regularly tuning in for your reels, you're seeing those numbers climb, then you want to start doing longer reels, 100%, but not at first. Because remember, the watch time, that completion time, how long are people watching your video, matters more than anything else. So it's not that Facebook's misdirecting you. They just don't have all the answers, right? You want to have a healthy mix of short ones and long ones. Long ones being 2 and 3 minutes. Okay. All right. I think that is all the questions that came up. If you guys have other questions, let me know. But here's what I want to do. I want to wrap up with some commitment statements. So the first one is this. This is a fill in the blank. I want you to fill in the blank in the comments. If my reels have one job, here's what I want them to do. What is the one job you want reels to do for you or your business? This is sort of a, what did you learn today in this video? What is the one job you want your reels to do? Okay. So if I'm doing this, I'm wanting my reels to get me new audience members. I'm wanting new followers. So what I'm going to, knowing that that's my commitment statement, the metric I'm going to watch is followers. Am I getting follower growth? Is my call to action, follow me? Or do I have something on the reels pointing to follow me? Because that's my one job I want reels to do. So you want to make sure that whatever your intention is with your reels is connected with what you're talking about in your reels and what you're measuring so that it's apples to apples. Okay? Okay. Let's see if anybody's commenting on that. You're all thinking about this. I like it. Emily says, grow our audience. Yes. Love it. Okay, how about the rest of you? What do you want, whether you're on here live with me or you're watching the replay? What is the job you want your reels to do? Okay, for Emily, anybody else who's already commented, here's part 2. What is your commitment on reels? How many are you going to do? 1 a day, 3 a week, 3 a day? It doesn't matter what you choose. So choose a number that allows you to be consistent. What is a realistic number to hit? Somebody earlier said, it's just one more thing to do. Here's what I would tell you to do. Less posting, more reels. If you can do a post and you have a habit of doing a post a day, I'm just throwing that out there, right? How many views are you getting in that post? 20 or 30? Maybe 40? How many comments are you getting on that one post? 5 or 6? 10? I'm throwing out numbers because I don't know, right? You can, in the same amount of time that you create that post content, you can create a short reel and you can get hundreds of views. That's why so many people are shifting their content strategy from all posts to fewer posts and more reels. Because we as consumers, that's what we want. We want more video. Okay, let's see what you guys are coming up with. Okay, Judy says, create no like and trust for new followers. Okay, I like it, right? You're wanting them to get to that point where they're saying to you, I like this Judy Lee. I like what she's all about. She's making me think. I'm going to follow her. I want more. That's what you're wanting to do. Love it, Judy. Okay, Amanda says, so glad you're talking about not focusing on reels for views. Vanity metrics do not matter. Yes, that's exactly it. Okay. And then she also says, reels are like anything else with our content on Facebook. They should open the door to new conversations, leads, and clients. Yes. Yes. It's the start. Jasmine Starr says it's the start of the conversation. That's what you got to focus on. So many of us, the biggest mistake that I see coaches and service-based entrepreneurs doing is they are selling and pitching in their content. And that's why it's not working for you. That's why you're not getting traction. It's the equivalent of only doing commercials, right? We don't want the commercials. I'm not saying don't promote or don't pitch. I'm saying there's a way to do it that gets you traction. If all of your content is one way, nobody's going to open that content. Nobody's going to tune in. Okay, Emily's going to do 3 per week. I like it. Trish says, I want her reels to get her new followers. Her commitment is 4 a week. Look at you go, Trish. I love it. Judy's going to do 5 reels a week. Woof. Woof. I love it. Okay. If you didn't respond, you're not off the hook, right? Don't forget, what do you want? What is it that you want reels to do for you? Come on, computer. Come on, computer. What is the job you want your reels to do? And what are you going to commit to doing it? Follow that for a consistent period of time. Start with 30 days. If you can do 60 days or 90 days, great. But be super focused on that. You're going to be blown away at the change that it makes for you. That's what focus gives us, right? We tend to do all of these different things and we're like, why is it not working? Because you're trying to do too much. You're scattered. Your energy becomes scattered, okay? If this is something that you would like some help with, reels in particular, figuring out this strategy, being consistent with it, making sure that you're knowing what are you measuring and what content are you putting into it. I have got a 6-week program starting this Friday. It's called Rocket Your Reels. You're going to learn how to do 6 different types of reels, and you're going to learn all this strategy stuff that we've been talking about today. And more than anything else is you're going to start a habit. You're going to build an identity of somebody who regularly shows up and does reels. So I have one coupon left. I gave the first 10 people $100 off. So I have one of those left. If you want it, let me know. The 6 weeks is $297, $100 off makes it $197. And I got payment plans. If you need it, just let me know. Okay. If you're interested, comment reels and I'll get you the link, or feel free to just DM me and we can chat. I would love to have you in Rocket Your Reels. It's a great group of people that we have in. I'm super excited. And like I said, we start this Friday. Okay. Here's what I want you to kind of take away from this. If reels feel hard to you, if you feel frustrated by them, I want to make sure you understand you're not failing, you're not bad at it, you're not behind at it, you're not missing some secret that everybody else has that you just don't get. It's simply that you haven't yet learned how to do them. It's like anything else. You have to be shown. You have to have a model or a strategy, because not all reels are created equal. Like I said earlier, reels that people that are influencers do versus reels for people who do affiliate marketing or product-based marketing versus those that are for coaches. It's a different strategy. So you got to make sure you're matching the right strategy with what you're trying to do. That's why it's so important. So what I'd love for you to do as we wrap up today is just imagine that new identity, that you are now somebody 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, that regularly shows up in reels. And as a result, those reels are getting you new followers, new traction. You're moving people through your sales funnel in a way like never before. That's what this can be for you if you just learn how to do reels and embrace them. And I would love to help you do this. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.